נחפש אחרינו ונחקור ונשוב עד השם. נחפש אחרינו ונחקור ונשוב עד השם.
Avraham Avinu chosen by Hashem. Hashem chosen. We say it in davening every day. Ata hu Elokim v'chata Avraham. He chose Avraham from all the people of the world and all the nations and all the tzaddikim that were before him. What unique trait did Hashem find in Avraham? So first of all, it says somebody once said to Yosef Chaim Untitled, he said, please give a blessing to my son. He should be a Fruma Yid. How do we translate Fruma Yid? A religious Jew. Orthodox. Religious Jew. So Yosef Chaim Untitled said it's more important that he should be, before he should be a Fruma Yid, he should be an Erlich Yid. How do you translate the word Erlich? Erlich, honest, trustworthy. Where do we see that this is the foundation of everything? Because, let's get back, what's written in the Siddur, we say it every day. What did Hashem find unique in Avraham Avinu? What was the special trait? Ato Elokim asher b'chata b'Avraham, and you took him out of Okasdim, you said to him, Lech Lecha, and you changed his name to Avraham. Why did you do all this? Umatzasa es levavai. You didn't look at his actions. He was a guy, he wasn't really it. So he wasn't frum, he didn't have any mitzvahs. So what did you find about Avraham Avinu? No mitzvahs. He's a guy. What did you find special about him? I found he didn't have any special tefillin to put on, special actions to do. What was special? I found something in his heart. What did I find in his heart? Ne'eman lefanecha. I found that he's trustworthy. He's loyal. He's loyal and trustworthy. That's the translation in Yiddish. You say Erlich. So he said Erlich before Frumkeit. Before Frum, keeping the mitzvahs exact. First, let's be Erlich. Straight. Yashar. Straight. And so, Sefer Breishis. So says the Mitzvah in his Hakdama, in his introduction, the Pelish Hemek Dova on Chumash Breishis. So he speaks about Chumash Breishis. Chachamim called Chumash Breishis has another name. Sefer HaYashar. The Avos are called Yesharim. What does the word Yashar mean? Straight. Straight. It goes straight. That has nothing to do with this mitzvah, that mitzvah. To be straight. Trustworthy and straight. That's a hakdama to everything else. That's the because Avraham is the Yesod. He's the foundation of all klayas. Unless you can have some of these big medactic mitzvahs, but then he knows a little bit. Just a little bit, he's from, he's very from, he learns Daf Yomi every day. Ne'eman lefanecha. Trustworthy. That's before everything. That's what we learned from this parasha. A very important foundation. It's not just another mitzvah to be straight. It's not one of the mitzvahs. It's the foundation of everything. Everything depends on it. They say that in the United States you can go in the prisons and find the Daf Yomi. There's a Magid there's Daf Yomi. It's a problem. It's a problem. It has a Daf Yomi in the prisons, that some ways we can learn Daf Yomi and still not understand what the Yiddishkeit is about. What's the principle? It's a problem. It's also, we're very happy that Torah has spread, but it also represents a problem. Somebody told me, Stam, not the same subject, but Stam interesting. Somebody told me two stories which are fascinating. It came to them at the same time. There's a story right now, there's a rabbi, famous rabbi, speaks on the radio on Fridays, Rabbi Grossman, Rabbi Migdalay. So he had a brother, and his brother was nifted. His brother wasn't 100% normal, never got married, and his brother was nifted this last week, and somehow or other, this is the story, it happened in his shiva. He has a brother-in-law in Yerushalayim, somebody known, a Dayan, Naftali Nussbaum, who says a Daf Yomi in Sanhedrin, he says that every day. At the end of his shir, in the middle of his shir, at the end of his shir, there was somebody sitting there, said that he sent by a Rav, he sent to him, he's looking for a Grossman, he's sent by Rav Odaya. Rav Odaya is the son of a Makubal, once in the Yerushalayim. What? That's Rav Odaya, his father came to whatever, there's an Neshama called Yosef Grossman, a soul, Yosef Grossman, who came to the Olam Ha'emes, and his Neshama can't go up, because he owes 100 shekel to somebody called David Ochai. And he can't go up. The kids, this Naftali Grossman, this Naftali Rav Naftali Nussbaum it's his brother-in-law, Rav Grossman of Migdalay, who was sitting Shiva. He put the guy on the phone with his brother-in-law. It's a story, he said it over him or something. He put the guy on the phone, he tells him all the story. So Rav Grossman says, he knows this David Ochai, and it's a Jew that lives in Migdalay. So immediately he called on the phone the David Ochai. They asked him if he gave 100 shekel to his brother. The other one laughed and said he gave very, very often. He gave 100 shekel to his brother. It wasn't 100, but he never expected to get it back. All right, phone call finished. A half hour later, he on the phone again. He phones Rav David Ochai and phones Rav Grossman. He says his wife reminded him that the last time when he gave him the 100 shekel, he said to him in Hebrew, "Don't forget to give it back." He made it a joke, but he said to him, "Don't forget to give it back." This is the story. Do with it whatever you want. It's a fascinating story. He has a Kiddush Hashem, Rav Grossman, on his program when he speaks on Friday, Erev Shabbos, from the Shiva. He said it over the story. You can check it. There's Rav Grossman in Migdalay. Find his phone number. Check the story. A Rav came, the Neshama came from the Olam Ha'emes in a dream to a Rav and said he needs a tikkun. He can't go further because he owes 100 shekel. And he said to who? And checked the story. The chance is true. The 100 shekel was owed, etc. This is the story. That's one story. Now, on the same subject, another story. I just want to share with you these stories that made on me an impression. Maybe will make on you an impression. Second story is there was a Dayan, very famous. He was nifter a good couple of years ago in Yerushalayim, Rav Moshe Halberstein. And basic. And he was nifter very suddenly. I remember he had a heart attack out of the clear blue sky. He had a heart attack, he went. And he was in the middle, it seemed there was a special din Torah before. People wanted he should be the Dayan in this din Torah. It was an argument. So the family of the people who had the din Torah by him asked, maybe he left something written, because it was at the end of the din Torah, perhaps he left a decision in connection with the din Torah. The son said he knows nothing about it. He doesn't know. Where's he going to find it if he wrote something about this din Torah? Came the father, I don't know at which point, at some point, his father, Rav Moshe Halberstein, came to his son in a dream and said he did write, told him in the dream, he wrote on this din Torah, and he should look for it. It's in such and such a place in the Aron, in such a drawer. There he'll find written that he wrote a psak on the din Torah. He did write on the din Torah. And while he was in the dream, at the dream, he told him three things. What are the three things that he told him? The first thing he told him, there's a Gemara that says, I have to give an introduction. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi went alive into Gan Eden. So the Gemara says. And when he came back, he asked him, what did you see there? So he said he saw an olam hafuch, an opposite world. What is the opposite world? He saw people in this world which have a higher status. He saw that they were el yoinim lamata, they were lower. And some people which have a lower status, tachtoinim, he saw lamayla. And the other one answered him, loy olam hafuch riisa, el olam yosher riisa. You saw a straight world. Here it's hafuch. There they have it right. So he said to him, the first thing he said to him, what's written in the Gemara, so it is. There are many, many that are there that it's hafuch. So it is. Because in this world we judge, I just want to explain, in this world we don't have any other tool to judge except by scholarship. Scholarship and accomplishment. In the other world, one judges by effort and Yiras Shamayim. These things are only given to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We can't judge those things. So we just judge by achievement. But in the other world, it doesn't go according to the achievement. It goes according to how much the person tried, how much fear of Hashem he had. It's totally different terms. So the tables can turn upside down. That's the first thing he told him. He said, so it is. He saw that so it is. The second thing he said, which we can learn from. He said that Hashem has, when one sings Zmiras on Shabbos, it makes a big nachas ruach, a great pleasure in the heavens. That this is a big thing, Zmiras on Shabbos. The third thing he said, which is Nogea, it concerns everybody if he, according to his level, that when one writes down Chidushei Torah, this creates a great nachas in Shemayim. To write when one learns, has a kasha, when has a teretz, when has an idea, everybody that learns. If one doesn't have anything new to say, one didn't learn. You know why? There's an expression from Chachamim, Ein beis medrash v'loi chiddush. There's no such thing as learning without having a new idea, getting to a new idea. So they say like this: if a person learns and he doesn't find the chiddush, he said Ein chiddush, yesh chiddush, yesh chiddush, ein chiddush. So it's a riddle. Ein chiddush. If you learn there's no chiddush, yesh, that's a chiddush. It's very strange. Yesh chiddush, you have a chiddush. Ain't chiddush. That's how it's supposed to be. That's to say that word. Kol Ponim, he said that those chidushim, these ideas that you have, when you learn, you should write them down. And that gives a nachas ruach in Shemayim. So I chazer over again. 3 things. He told his son, Rabbi Moshe Halberstam told his son in a dream, outside of that he told him where the psakas that he wrote, he said that when it sees like that in Shemayim, it's an olam hapuch elyonim, memata v'tachtonim memayla. One's above or lower, and the other one's a place that brings down a very interesting thing there, Kabbalah, Rabbi Yehuda B'Shmuel. Won't go in. I'll call upon him. That's the first thing. The second thing, that is a nachas ruach in Shemayim when you sing Zmiros on Shabbos. Not to think that Stam Zmiros is just a pleasure just to sing, but it's a seder of it. It's covered Shabbos to sing Zmiros on Shabbos. And the third thing, that there's a nachas ruach to write down chidushei Torah. The person learns and he has ideas to write them down, to value. When Hashem puts an idea in a person's head of Torah, to value it and to put it there. So, we spoke the first thing now. I want to get to something else entirely. We have in this week's, now let's go to the parsha.
Both those stories show how Yashrus is very important as well.
How did I put it?
The first one with the paying back
that's Yashrus, right? That's connected, that's mamish connected, right? You see that the Yashrus, if you don't pay even a small debt, in Shemayim it's a problem.
And also the way he spoke. When he didn't used to be Makbi, that's not in the Teshuvah. The only thing he was considered to owe was that one.
The words have he said that he could give it back even though it was said in jest, but it seems it wasn't 100% sure it was said in jest. It had an effect. The words mean something. Words are not stam. The value, we see the value of words.
Plus, Rav Halberstam probably was erlich in always making sure that people understood his psak. And during Yerushalayim, they gave him a chance to clarify where the psak was.
Shekaya, Harab, Hillel, Fodman, it's very good things here. Very important things. Not everybody can come to a dream from the Elam Emes and say where he wrote down the psak. It's a fascinating story. It shows it that it shows the honesty and the tzidkis of Rav Halberstam, no question. But the story one has to know that there is such a story took place. One didn't invent, but it doesn't invent these stories. Stories are not invented. If we go now to the first pasuk in the parasha, you can see, I think I've said it this before, but we see a beautiful diuk. Psukim, one has to understand, Psukim, Rashi says it many times, Divrei Torah, maybe I say introduction, Divrei Torah is a pasuk, Kipatish Yifutzatz Sef. One of the explanations is that just like when you bang with a hammer on a stone, it makes sparks and goes out in different ways. The same way, there's pasuk in the Torah, and when you begin learning it and delving into the depths, it's like the hammer banging down on the stone, the sparks shoot in different ways. The same pasuk has different meanings simultaneously. And because it's written by the Rebbeinu Shalom, it's not a chidush, ain't chidush. Of course, the Rebbeinu Shalom can write a language that has many, many different meanings at different levels. So let's analyze this first pasuk of the parasha. Lech lecha, the simple meaning is simple. Avraham Avinu, leave everything that you've done till now and go to the land that I'm going to show you, Eretz Yisrael. Very nice. That's the pasuk of Pshat. But if you look at the pasuk precisely, there's a geographical problem. Like I said, typographic error. There's a problem here. How do you let's see. do you leave the big? How do you leave the big place and the small? Which when you have that's the Artzach is the general term. Mimaladatcha is the city. Beis Avicha is the house. Where do you live? You live in a house. The house is in a city, and the city is in a country. So what do you leave first? You leave the country first, or you leave your house first? When you're going on a trip, you're going from your house, let's say, to Eretz Yisrael. So where do you from the United States? You leave first the United States, or you leave first your house and then the city? What's the order? You leave the United States, then you leave the city, then you leave your house, or the other way around? The other way around. So there's a problem with this pasuk. This pasuk has a problem. Because he says, go out of your land, go out of the country, go out of the city, and then go out of your house. It's written, the order's the opposite way. Fakert. It should have been written, Lech lecha mi beis avicha, mi moladetcha, me'aretzecha. That's the way it should be written. That's the order of events. This gives us a signal that the tzibui, the command of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Avraham Avinu, was not just a geographical relocation. The person, there's the geographical location of the body, but where is the person? The person is where his traits are. A person, how does the Rambam say? Derech ha'adam is the way of a person to be nimshach. He's influenced. In English, there's a simple statement. Man is influenced by his environment. Man is a product of his environment. He has bechira, but he's influenced in all different ways. Where's this influence? In him. That means a person has in him the patriotism of his country, so to speak. An American, say, once an American, always an American. So he has in him the influence of his country. He has in him the influence of the specific city where he lives. And he has in him, of course, the habits of his parents. All this is in him. It's geographically located in him, the midas. But now, let's speak about changing a person. We coming to the midas ha'emes, everything to be mitzvah in the emes. Which one in the influence, which one is the deeper, and which one do you leave first? If you're going to change what you absorbed from hashpah, from influence of the environment, what's the first thing that you can see? What's easier to change? What's more difficult? And what's the most part of you? How does the order go? Where's a person mostly influenced? From where's he mostly influenced? What's the deepest thing? His parents. What's next? The immediate surroundings. What's the furthest away? The city. Oh, now the pasuk fits. Lech lecha. We're not speaking here about a geographical location as well, but we're speaking about an inner halicha, an inner change. Go away from the influence of your land. Go away, mimoiladetcha, from where you were born, the place with the location where you were born, and go away, mibeis avicha. So it's already now the pasuk fits. So we see from this order of language that Hashem is telling Avraham Avinu a lot more than just go. He's saying change all your ways to the midas ha'emes, and it could be, perhaps, that a person is triple. A person has a nefesh. They're different in the spiritual parts of man. There's different levels. It says in this one, there's nefesh, ruach, neshama. That's perhaps Mubas here too. Or connected that you have a person, it says in Sforim, maybe I'll explain. A person is composed of his actions, of his speech, and of his thoughts. That's the human being. And he's telling Avraham Avinu to be Mekadesh, to sanctify his actions, that they should be his actions. The actions come from the actions you do of the body. Speech is already the fruit of the soul. Machshava is even something more deeper. So, Lech lecha me'artzecha. What's made from the eretz of the person? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mi'atza the Adam. The guf is from the Adama. Lech lecha me'artzecha. Those are the actions. Then mi'maladetcha. When the parents, when they give birth to him, they put what they experience, their itzainus. A person is born. The koach haleda is from the power of wish, of desire, of ratzon. That's from the ruach. That's the beis avicha is even deeper. Beis avicha is the neshama. The neshama is the deepest part of the person. So it's saying that Avraham Avinu should change his actions, he should change his dibur, he should change his even his basic thoughts. And then the order is correct. All this room is here. And why does it say, but now we have a kasha? What is also Rashi says a pshat, but again the puzzle. Why didn't he tell him, what does it mean, the land that I'm going to show you? So I want to say over a maimer in Maseches Avot, and a pshat what the Mefoshim say. Listen carefully. The Mishnah says like this, Kachi darka shel Torah. This is the way of Torah. What's the way of Torah? Not to be involved in physical pleasures of this world. If a person has to be misguided, he has to think about the emptiness of the value of the pleasures of this world, because the pleasure is just for the moment, and a minute later he wants another pleasure, it doesn't end. So he doesn't have a sense of achievement from the pleasures of this world. On the other hand, Torah is something that he takes with him for eternity, and he has the pleasure after the accomplishment, not just at the time. So it's not worth the trade one for the other. So in order for a person to achieve Torah, first he has to dedicate himself and not lose time with the achievements of this world, the pleasures of this world. He has to think about the lack of achievement, the true achievement of the pleasures of this world. So the Chazal expressed this idea. Kachi darka shel Torah. This is the way of Torah. Pas b'melech toicha. Be satisfied with any food. Don't look for foods of special pleasures. Mayim, don't look for special drinks. Drink just the amount you need. Mayim b'mesura tishta. These words are expressing a hashkaf. V'chayi tzar tichya. Don't look for a life of pleasure, life of pain. 1 second. It's very strange. Chayi tzar tichya. A life of pain. V'aloretz tisha. I changed the order. I just made a mistake. V'aloretz tisha. Sleep on the ground. Don't look for a special bed. Too high, special, two cushions and two mattresses. V'aloretz tisha. Chayi tzar tichya. U'b'Torah ta'omer. But learn Torah. No, all right. But that's a chayi tzar. Right? So you're telling me to do Mesiras Nefesh. Continues the Tani, says, if you do like this, you'll be meusha, you'll be satisfied, you'll be happy, and then you'll be good. But you'll be satisfied in this world. I don't understand. I'm confused. You just now told me, you told me to live a life of pain. How can I say? And now you tell me, ashrecha, you'll be meusha, you'll be satisfied. I don't know. These two things don't go together. If I'm living a life of pain, how can you say Ashrecha b'yom hazeh, you'll be happy? How can I be happy for life of pain? How does these things go together? Nothing to eat, nothing proper to, just the minimum to eat, the minimum to drink, sleeping on the floor, living a life of pain, not pleasure. Ashrecha, everything's fine. But there's something else in the middle. Before the Ashrecha, the Tana says, Im ato oisekein. Yeah, what does this mean? If you do like that, doesn't make sense. Of course, that's what we're speaking about. If you don't do like that, the Tana wants he's telling you how to live. So what does he tell you? If you do like that, if you do like that. Of course, that's what it's superfluous. That's what he's telling you. That's what he's talking about. So what's the Matai Sekhet? So Mefoshim say, if the Tana writes somebody that lives this way, Ashrecha b'yom hazeh, so everybody says, I don't understand. Like I'm asking the question. Doesn't make sense. How could it be? So the Tana tells you, he knows that you're going to ask this question to him. How can I accept this statement? It make sense. My senses tell me the other way. So the Tana says, trust me. You can't understand what I'm telling you. If you do like this and you trust me, then you'll see for yourself what I'm going to tell you next. You see that you're mushah. But you can't understand it till you do it. Because as long as you're tied up to Olam Hazeh, you can't picture that if you let go, when a person has a taiva in this world, he looks to him, that's the sheker, that's the optical illusion of the taiva. The taiva, the power of the Yetzer is that if he leaves this Yetzer, what's life worth living? He can't picture he'll be happy without that Yetzer. That's the sheker of the Yetzer Hara. So until he leaves it, he can't picture that he can live without it. He has to put it to the pile and leave it, and then he sees the Taka doesn't need it. So that's what the Tana is saying. If you do it, you become free from the taivas, and then you'll be able to see it. Then you'll understand what I'm telling you. Ashrecha b'toivach, that you see that you're satisfied and you're happy. Now let's go back to the pasuk. This is what the Rebbeinu Shalom is telling Avraham. He says, I can't explain to you what you will achieve. Just like we're not talking about geographical relocation, we're talking about spiritual relocation. So he's telling Avraham Avinu, not just you'll come to Eretz Yisrael, you'll come to the Eretz Yisrael HaKadosh. You'll taste in Eretz Yisrael Kedusha a different level that you couldn't achieve without working on all these things. So Hashem can't tell him. He can't tell him what exactly he's going to achieve because now he didn't do it yet. It's imata oisake. Just you'll be envision things that I can't explain to you now. Later you'll understand. By following this recipe, you'll understand it. So he can't be megaleh. That's the pshat in the pasuk here. This is a pneumistic pshat in the pasuk. Lech lecha mi'aretz, and this applies to all of us. All of us have this avodah constant. Lech lecha is not just when we read this pasuk, we're asked to understand. This pasuk is not just a tzibui. It's not just a command to Avraham Avinu. This pasuk is lenetzach. It's speaking. Avraham Avinu is the father of Christ. So it's speaking to every yid and every person in his situation. There's different madregas. Every time a person works on himself to be lech lecha, to move away from artzecha, from some of his taivus artzias, from certain diburim that he says usually, to change his lashon hadibur, or to change his machshava, he moves to Eretz Yisrael, to Kedushas Eretz Yisrael, Ashareka, to different visions. He gets hasogis, he gets different concepts that he couldn't understand before. His concepts of Torah grow, his depths in Torah grow. That's all it's Ashareka. So this pasuk is lenetzach. It's not historical. It's not just telling us about Avraham Avinu. It's speaking to us. It's a tzivui of Hashem to us. Lech lecha, if you want it to taste the kedusha, you want to taste the sanctification of Eretz Yisrael, you want to conceive the inner kedusha of Eretz Yisrael, you have to be lech lecha, me'artzecha, me'velaretcha, me'beis avicha. That's the pasuk. Learn the pasuk in Chumash. Learn up a pasuk. And now I just want to tell you one more thing. I see the clock is moving, it's turning. It's not a beautiful word. So we said, but let's go over. What did we say here? Just let's go over. We began with what? Remind me. Yes, Mitzvahs Levavi. Number one, Mitzvahs Levavi Ne'em Lefanecha, Yashrus. This is the main thing why Avraham Avinu was chosen. The second point we spoke about, the format made it that it's a continuation. The story of this week, Mamish, of the last week, about Yosef Grossman, who was lifted, and the Neshama came to Mekubal from the Olam Emes, or to his father who was Mekubal, he came in a dream, whatever, and to Mamish is for a tikkun that he has to pay back 100 shekels. Until this 100 shekels paid back, it's keeping him from going to a level of luchnis. And another story is, he said from Moshe Halberstam was a dayan here, and Yerushalayim was lifted a couple of years ago, suddenly, in the middle of a Torah, so he did three things. The three things he told his son, three things. It's not a cat, it measures differently. And Hashem enjoys Zmiras on Shabbos, and Hashem enjoys when a person writes. This has a big tanug in Shemayim when a person writes down Chidushi Torah. That was the second thing. And from there we went to the third thing. This is the Pshat and Pasuk. We explain now this Pshat and Pasuk. We spoke three things till now. Vayoy Hashem al Avram, Lecha Chaviatzchum Darach. We explained this pasuk. I explained it according to the Maimer of Meseches Avos. Kachi Darka Shel Torah, Pasuk Melech Teichel, Maimer Tzur Tishla, Imata Oiseke. That's the Asher Eko. That's why he doesn't tell him. Imata Oiseke. After you do it, then you understand. You have to first do it with a Munah, and then you get different concepts. And that's what we explained that the Lech Lecha here is not just a geographical relocation, because then the order of the pasuk doesn't go. It's a spiritual relocation. Relocate his inner self, his inner soul. That's the Lech Lecha. There's an inner Lech Lecha. A person can be stationary and he's Lech Lecha, and a person can be moving around and there's no Lech Lecha. He's not changing. He's the same. He might be traveling on planes 1,000 miles, going all over the place, but he's not moving. He's the same. A person can be stationary in a wheelchair and he's moving. So Lech Lecha here is we're talking about a ruchniistic Lech Lecha. And just the fourth thing that I want to say now, the fourth nekuda, very fascinating Turim in this week's parsha. It's a pasuk in Bereshis Tesvav. Where is it? Pasuk Vav. The Hemin B'Hashem, Hashem promised him that he'll have children, and he took him, even though according to the mazel of Avraham Avinu, he couldn't have children, and Hashem believed him, Hashem considered it as an act of tzedakah, and the schar of this itself, this amun and this tzedakah, Hashem be'emet gave him the children. The Ba'aturim says the word vayachsheveho, we find this word in this form, we find 3 places in the Torah. What are the 3 places? This is one of them. The other 2 places are in Pashas Vayeshev, I think, by Yehuda and Tamar. Yehuda sees Tamar, he says vayachsheveho l'zayna. He thought she's a zayna. Was she a zayna? She was doing a big mitzvah. She wanted Yibum did. And the other place where we find vayachsheveh is by Chana. Chana, Eli vayachsheveho l'shikoira. Eli thought that she was a shikoira. In these 2 places, they were chayshid the person for something that he doesn't have. Rabbi Yossi says in Gemara and Shabbos, Yehi chelki in misha chayshtim boy de'enu. Let my chelik be, let me have a portion with a person that min hashamayim, somebody is suspicious of him and he's not guilty. They suspect him of not being in order, and he's not, and he is in order. This makes a fantastic schar in Shemayim. So he says that's what it says over here. Chana, he thought that she's a shikoira. What was she doing? She was davening. Nothing to do. He thought she's a zayna Tamar. She was doing a mitzvah. What happened? Tamar was rewarded with 2 banim, parrots and zerach, Melachim and Nevi'im. Chana was rewarded with Shul Anadi. Where do we see this idea? These 2 vayachsheveho, the Hem and Bashem vayachsheveho lo yitztaka. These 2 places of shad, they got stuck. Hashem rewarded them. Every time there's a shad, these 2 vayachsheveho was shad, and the Torah is Merama is vayachsheveho lo yitztaka. That Hashem is machshad. When a person is nechshad, Hashem considers that staka, and He gives him reward for this tzad.
Even if you protest?
I don't know. I'll tell you how it came to me. Somebody told me over it. I finished. On a protest, yes. I'll tell you over the story. The psak. Also a psak from the Beis of Chaim Zon. A woman was working in an office. You know that there's a din in the mitzvah of Hashavas Aveda. It says if a Talmid Chacham finds something and it's not his cover, according to his Adam Nichbad, he's not obligated to be busy with the Aveda. If it's not according to his cover, the Torah didn't. If it's a Rizoyin, if he feels a Rizoyin, it's lowering his honor, his dignity. He doesn't have to return the Aveda. So a woman was working in office, and they thought that she was stealing money from the office. So they thought. But they let her continue working. Maybe they were more careful. One day, one of the workers lost a bracelet. And she thought maybe somebody stole the bracelet. She didn't know what. Finally, the woman who they were suspicious of, she sees the bracelet on the floor. So she begins thinking, what am I going to do? If I'm going to return the bracelet, you're going to think that I stole it. And they'll say, I'm doing tshuva, but they'll think that I stole the bracelet. Now I decided to give it back. If I leave it there, I have a mitzvah Shabbos Aveda. Am I obligated to give back this Aveda? It's going to make them think that I'm a ganava. So does that part of me? I don't want the embarrassment. I'll strengthen this suspiciousness that one will think that I'm a ganava. So perhaps she's potter, like the din of Zokin Veinu Lefi Kvoida. That there's no mitzvah, there's no obligation of Shabbos Aveda. It's going to make me embarrassment. So Rabbi Yosef Chaim Zanukov said this embarrassment is different. Since Rabbi Yossi says Yehei Chelki im Misha Chayshtim Boy Veinenu. So the person is muftach to get schar. So this embarrassment doesn't happen. This embarrassment gives the person a benefit. He doesn't lose from it. He gets a special schar. He will have tocha. She's chayv b'shavos aveda. So I don't know the psak to discuss it, but that's interesting. On the basis of this Gemara, the pasuk doesn't have the tour of zokin veinu v'kvoidoi, and she's obligated to give back the bracelet. She'll only profit. For the strength of this suspicion, she'll get blessed for that too.
nach Pesach Chenu ונחקור ונשוב עד השם